Bring that playoff intensity every day to our shows.
Bring it on, Chomp. Let's go.
Okay, maybe just for Drew DeArmond.
Ding me.
Listen for Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew. Weekday mornings starting at 7 on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You want coffee? Anybody want coffee?
Can you get me off the hook? Roll type say.
Your tire's tired.
He ain't good looking, but he sure ain't shy. He's a northern-bred, southern-fed, slick-talking guy. Listeners in his posse are the junkyard dogs. The SEC from Tennessee to calling them hogs. From Gainesville up to Lexington to the Titan Tiger Land, nobody does it like Tom Abraham.
You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall. Testosterone high today.
Yeah, Tom's a man, he's got the plan, he's really got it made. What a wife he's got, she's smoking hot, check out the junkyard babe. When everything is said and done, no one can beat his show. He's a high-tech redneck, Tony Soprano. If you love sports without the fluff, he's got the master plan. Cause nobody does it like Tom Abraham, yeah.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond?
It must be Wednesday. I called it hump day.
A holiday hump day.
Uh-oh. Guess what day it is?
Holiday hump day.
Guess what day it is?
Hump day.
Huh? Anybody? Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Hump day.
Guess what today is?
Day.
Woo-hoo!
In the middle of the holidays, hump day. Special hump day for you today, too.
See how heat does come out of the top of your head? Look at it, just coming off at Nate's head there. That's where it escapes. If you have heat in your body and you want to let it out, you take your hat off.
Yeah.
You know, what you could do is you could have a barbecue on that head.
Nate's got a lot of room to let it out.
Yeah. I mean, you could cook like some burgers on there. Look at that talk. I mean, this is football. When you got steam coming out of your head and your mouth, now you're talking football. You're controlling that offensive line. This is what it's all about. It's a playoff game. If you win, you go to the championship. Well, what are you talking about?
That's right. What are you talking about? The great John Madden passing yesterday. We got plenty on that coming up. We are going to be bringing you two shows here today and tomorrow, right in the middle of the holidays. And that means that we will get a Beat the Big Dog in today. We will get a New Year's Fecta in tomorrow. We got a lot to talk about here in these 2 hours, and we got plenty of room to get you in. Phone lines are open right now. Feel free to jump in at 256-576-4977. You can also text the show at 732-9TA-SHOW, 732-982-7469, which is a tremendous way to communicate with us. My personal Twitter, at Tom Abraham Show. Station Twitter, 97.7 ESPN. We're also on the Twitch and the Facebook at 97.7 ESPN, where you can watch the show as well. On our YouTube channel, you can watch it at 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Go ahead and like and subscribe to that YouTube channel. All kinds of video that's been being posted from the Huntsville City Classic. You want to see that stuff, just go to 97.7 ESPN, The Zone on the YouTube channel. Go to 977ESPN.com. You get links to all of that stuff. And while you're at it, get the app, all right, so that you can find your links to Zone 2, 3, 4 as well, our alternate streaming channels for more great programming. Now, remember, we got Alabama basketball, which is tonight against Tennessee. We got UAH basketball. We got the Havoc. We've had the Huntsville City Classic for the last 2 days. We got 20 bowl games that we're bringing you, the college football playoff, the national championship game, and that's why basically we are your home for everything. The Huntsville City Classic Championship game has been moved up to 2 o'clock today at Huntsville High. It's 2 o'clock due to the threat of bad weather. I mean, I heard the weather forecast. It didn't sound that bad. But they're moving it up to 2 o'clock today, and we'll have all the action. That's actually a good thing. For us, that's a good thing because we'll have all the action for you today over the air and on our primary stream. We were going to have it on Zone 2 because of the Alabama-Tennessee basketball game. But now we can have the Huntsville Championship basketball game, the Huntsville City Classic Championship game between Sparkman and Grissom in a good old-fashioned county versus city matchup. We have that, and then later on, we'll have, Alabama and Tennessee. And on our streaming channels, we'll have bowl games for you. Coming up in a few minutes, David Moulton from the SEC on CBS and the NFL on Fox will join us. We'll get his take on the SEC slow start into bowl season. And on Friday's Cotton and Orange Bowls. And, of course, on the passing of the great John Madden, who for an entire generation was the voice of the NFL. At the top of the 11, CBS broadcaster, play-by-play man Kevin Harlan, who I consider to be in the very, very top couple of 2-3 guys that are play-by-play guys. I love Kevin Harlan on play-by-play, radio and TV, maybe radio more than TV. He will join us on John Madden as well. Kevin and I are the same exact age. We literally were born 2 months apart. So the impact of Madden on our broadcasting careers is similar in terms of, what it meant to me, a small-time guy doing small-time radio and TV, and to Kevin Harlan, a big-time guy doing Westwood One radio and CBS TV for football and basketball. So we'll talk with Kevin Harlan at the top of the 11 o'clock hour. Madden was unique in a way that we really never knew until he was gone. For many of us, we just thought that, that was it. He was a football man to the core, but he was an incredible entertainer as well. And that was the big thing about him. He was an entertainer that brought to the broadcast things that were outside of what was going on, X's and O's on the field.
Goodyear blimps log over 100,000 miles every year covering major sporting events. They've had a beautiful day today. Enjoying it up there, guys?
Now, they're inside now, but inside isn't in the middle or on top. That's underneath, I think, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
I mean, if you look at that thing, yeah, I never figured, I couldn't, see, they're down in here, in this group here, I think.
They are. I hope they are.
I don't know why they didn't get up above or something. I don't know why they're underneath it.
He was using the telestrator to circle the gondola that hung from the bottom of the blimp. I mean, that was Madden. Nobody does that. Nobody does that. He'd use the telestrator to describe non-football things like the Gatorade buckets on the bench or things in the crowd or the steam coming off of Nate Newton's head. He was the absolute godfather of the telestrator. Back when you drew on it with the back of a pen. And he had a profound influence on anyone who did the job in those days. And I'll tell my story about that a little bit later on. He was just amazing. The guy was also a tremendous coach who won 103 games in 10 years with Oakland. It's over 10 games a year. Some of those years they only had 14 games. He went to the AFC Championship game 7 times in 10 years. But they always seemed to fall victim to the Steelers or the Dolphins. Except for that one glorious season in 1976. When they went on and won the Super Bowl, one of the greatest teams ever. He quit at age 40, refusing to ever fly again. He was claustrophobic, did not like flying. The following year, he became the voice of the fan. Not just the voice of the NFL, but he became the voice of the fan. He was that kind of a guy. I ripped off so much. When I first started on TV in 1997 doing games, I totally ripped off what John Madden was doing because he taught us that stuff. That was the thing he taught us. He made everything so fun. He never talked down to the listener. John Madden was the one that said, I want the viewer to think I'm sitting on the couch with them watching the game. To be honest, I carried that advice with me my entire career. And then to die just a few days after the Christmas All Madden special was even more poignant. I hope you saw it. If you didn't see it, I hope you have it on a DVR or can find it somewhere. It was 90 minutes of glorious TV. I watched it live, I recorded it, and I have it, and I'm glad I saved it. The All Madden special on Fox. Over there in that little glass room, playing the Platters That Matter and the Stacks of Wax and answering the phones, keeping us on the air, a guy who benefited greatly from Madden's unparalleled video game. So many people that just know Madden from the video game as well. It's Coach Chris.
Who in the blue hell are you? What is your name? It doesn't matter what your name is.
I'm
I'm the producer of this show. If I didn't step up, you're nowhere. I put this thing together out of spit and polish.
I think this is one of the traits of a really good producer. Keep the talent happy.
I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew.
Now, Tom. Hey, Tom.
Testosterone high today. Testosterone, whatever the it is.
It really doesn't matter what you think. All right? It really doesn't matter what you say.
Any of you play sports?
Grizzlicious, how you doing today?
Man, I mean, I'm just like everybody else that should know who John Madden is, whether you're young, old, whoever. I mean, if you know football, you should know who John Madden is. And if, like you said, if you do play video games, you did know John Madden really well. And I've known that iconic voice, I guess, since I started playing video. Well, not.
Do you think anybody doesn't know John Madden, really? I mean,
there's probably some younger.
The older people coach,
yeah.
And the middle-aged people broadcaster, and then the young people video game.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't know John Madden? Right?
I would hope that at least like it gets, it's like something that your parents passed down a little bit. You know what I mean? Like people that you thought were iconic when you were younger and everything like that. And whether it was when he was a coach. I mean, I remember plenty of broadcast games. I mean, I'm old enough to remember a lot of those. And in the video game, I mean, I grew up going over to my cousin's house and playing Sega Genesis and playing 93, 94 Madden. You know what I mean? And just always play, like, just that was one of the games that I always chose to play because it was just I loved football, and it was just.
And you learned so much,
and I knew who it was. I knew the players even as a young kid.
Well, yeah, but not only that, you knew plays. My kids knew so much when they were 6,
like
7,
blitz.
8, 9. They knew terms like draw play and swing play and box coverage and man under zone, and you learned all of this stuff. You know what I mean? They learned all of these things regarding the game. And look, I got subtitles on me, Grizz. I'm not even sure why, but I get subtitles and you don't. But anyway,
maybe because you have it on or something.
No, I don't. I just want to check and see if I had it on, but it's not on my camera.
That's weird.
But anyway, it was amazing how much people learned, and it wasn't just Madden giving them his name. Madden was involved in very heavily involved in the development of the game and the tweaks of the game as the years went on. We got to have this, we got to have that to make it authentic. We got to be able to do this. And then, of course, he was the voice with Pat Summerall for years and years until, I don't know, who is it now? Is it Gus Johnson now? Or who's the voice? Is it still Gus?
Man, I haven't to be honest with you, I haven't played the last couple of years because really Madden, I've kind of gone away from it a little bit. They've done really bad for their community. So like video game people,
what they do bad for their community?
They just they'll constantly upgrade something, but then they'll take away something that people liked, and there's always something different. And I just haven't
competitively
played anybody in Madden in a long time, like a few years actually. Yeah. I just haven't bought it.
Who was the voice the last time? When did was it Pat Summerall until he died, and then was it Al Michaels? Or did it go from Pat Summerall right to Gus Johnson? Who were some of the guys that were the voices? Do you know?
I know Charles Davis was a voice for a while. Let's see, Brandon Gaudin and Charles Davis were back.
He was never the play-by-play voice.
Well, they were back in Madden 20. I know that.
Yeah, but he wasn't the play-by-play guy. He might have been the color guy, but not the play-by-play guy.
Well, yeah, 'cause I haven't played in a while, so I really couldn't tell you, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've played.
Yeah.
There's probably someone better. Smokey Mike could probably explain it to you better than I have, or somebody else, because I haven't played Madden in a while, but I grew up on Madden, so like I've always been kind of like used to that, and then for a while it was just kind of whoever they kind of throw. They would throw in a different voice every year, I feel like, though, too.
Yeah.
They would always change it up.
No, it was for years and years. It was. We can find it. It was.
Well, I know.
It was Pat and John for years and years and years. I mean,
right.
20 years, and then I thought it became Gus Johnson for a number of years.
There was
the play-by-play voice.
There was times where Al Michaels was doing games too on Madden as well. So
did he? So that's why I say I wonder if it went from Pat to Al, because Al was with Madden for 7 years, and so I wonder if they did it that way. I don't know. We'll look it up. We'll check. But in any event, the point is that now listen. Grizz, another guy passed away overnight that was certainly not as famous as John Madden, but many knew Jeff Dickerson out of Chicago. ESPN 1000
Yeah.
in Chicago, and he covered the Bears for ESPN. He was a guest on my show several times. I mean, he had come on the show many times, and he was always gracious with his time. 44 years old, Grizz. Only 44 years old. He died of colon cancer.
Yeah.
And he died in the same hospital that his 36-year-old wife died in 2 years ago after she battled cancer for 8 years. I mean, just so sad. And you must know the name Jeff Dickerson.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Chicago broadcaster, correct?
Yeah, he was on ESPN 1000 in Chicago, which was operated and owned by ESPN, and he was also ESPN's Bears correspondent.
Right.
So anytime you wanted to talk Bears, it would be Jeff Dickerson. And I think Smokey Mike would know. Jeff Dickerson probably read thousands of articles by Jeff Dickerson over the years.
I've heard the name. Yeah, no, definitely. But yeah, I've kind of looked into that Madden question you were asking. Gus Johnson was in Madden 12, Madden 11, NCAA basketball 10.
I don't care about NCAA basketball. What does it say? Like the history of Madden play-by-play guys.
Well, I know that. I can't. I don't see that. But I know last year's or Madden 21 has Brandon Gaudin and Charles Davis as the in-game commentators.
Who?
Brandon Gaudin and Charles
Brandon
Davis.
So they've gone away from big names.
Yeah.
Charles Davis is nice. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But wow.
Yeah, Gus Johnson was on for a while. I know that, but I know Al Michaels was on plenty of games too because I've played plenty of Madden to remember that.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, do I not know this guy? Can you? What's his name?
Brandon Gaudin. Let's see.
What does he do?
American sportscaster, Big Ten Network, Fox Sports.
Brandon Gaudin.
Brandon Gaudin.
Don't even know the dude.
Kind of a young guy. He was. It looks like he was. He also did Madden 17. Because I know Charles Davis was like a voice for a while. Like since Madden 17, I know Charles Davis has been one of the announcers for, or at least the
color guy.
Not the color guy, but not the play-by-play. Yeah, but Brandon Gaudin, I guess he's been the one that's been since Madden 20 and Madden 2021. Seems like.
Yeah,
he may have been before that, but to be honest, like I said, I haven't like been real deep down into it. Like I know Joe Hunk plays on Facebook all the time. I see him doing his Titans updates and everything, so he might know more than I probably would know about that.
Yeah, I wonder when the last year Madden did, the commentary, on it. And
on the game,
we can find we can find a history of it. I'm sure. But what as far as who the play-by-play guys were over the years and when Madden, because Madden did it for years and years, and it was. It's just so many people learned from that. But now Madden is done in 2009. So in your youth, in your formative years becoming a fan, you remember a lot of John Madden from TV, I would think, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I mean,
I think I would know him more basically from the video game because I was around it so much as a kid, early on. But as I got older, yes, it would have been definitely the broadcaster for sure.
Yeah,
for me.
Madden, the broadcaster, he was absolutely phenomenal, and the things that he did and the things that he talked about were just absolutely amazing. And what he did with a telestrator was incredible as well. All right, we'll get into some more of that a little bit later on. We got to beat the big dog for you today. I tied 4-2. Me and the Vol man, we sent him to the game anyway. All right, because he was a big Vols fan, just like we did with Travis. Travis was a big Vols fan, and he tied me, so we sent those guys to the game anyway. But we do have a Beat the Big Dog coming up for you today. We got Havoc tickets and Chow for you if you can beat me, so we'll have that coming up a little bit later on in the show. Again, 2 days. We got today and we got tomorrow. And coming up next, we got David Moulton. So that's coming up right here on the Tom Abraham Show, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You're listening to the Tom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Simple Green is perfect for making your auto, RV, cycling, boating, and other sporting equipment look like new. Visit them at simplegreen.com.
NFL, Atlanta taking on Buffalo Sunday. The Bills favored by 15. Buffalo minus 1,000. Atlanta plus 660. Over under 44. The Tennessee Titans facing Miami at Nissan Stadium in Nashville. Titans favored by 3.5. The over under 40.5. College basketball, Auburn facing LSU to open up SEC play. The Tigers favored by 4. Over under 140.5. Alabama hosting Tennessee. The Crimson Tide favored by 2.5 points with an over under of 149. And in college football, national semifinals, Alabama against Cincinnati. The Crimson Tide favored by 13 points. For vsin.com, I'm Tony Desiri, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Alabama Crimson Tide Athletics all season long is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, home of the 5-star experience. Bob Wallace Appliance, locally owned and operated since 1978. Brooks & Collier, your indoor and outdoor living headquarters, celebrating 75 years. The Aldridge Law Firm, Wow, Halls RV, and University Kia. Listen to the Crimson Tide Sports Network right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Ho, ho, ho! Bob Baumhauer here, and Baumhauer's Victory Grill is kicking off the holiday season right. From our always fresh buttermilk fried chicken tenders to our homemade Nana's chicken salad, and of course our world-famous buffalo wings. We've got your holiday meals covered with our legendary party-ready trays. And what's a holiday party without gifts? Now through December 24th, get a $5 bonus card with every $25 in gift cards purchased. Plus, our signature sauces make great stocking stuffers too. Merry Christmas!
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
2 maids and a mop. That's all you need to know to clean house. 2 Maids and a Mop is an award-winning company, bonded and insured. Hire them for yourself, or they have gift cards if you want to make someone else's day. Find out more online at 2maidshuntsville.com. A maid service worth talking about. 2 Maids and a Mop take care of everything. They supply all the cleaning equipment needed. Call 256-883-6243. The only finger you'll need to lift is the one to call them.
Tom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
Making a resolution to stop making resolutions? Power move. Going to bed 3 hours before the ball drops? Power move. Switching to extra reliable internet from WOW with speeds up to 1 gig? Power move. Get the speed you need starting with Internet 100 for just $19.99 a month and get your first month free. Plus, learn how to get up to $300 on us. Sign up at wowway.com today. Wow. Limited to new customers with autopay and paperless billing. Offer subject to change. Restrictions and terms apply.
There are not many things as satisfying as going through an ordering checklist of specific options and features and then taking delivery of your dream truck or SUV. Hey, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and we make it easy to custom order your new Ford today and get exactly what you want. Go to WoodyAndersonFord.com and see how easy it is. Not only is there no extra cost for the custom order, but you'll get $1,000 off MSRP on top of any additional factory rebates on a 2021 F-150, Explorer, Ranger, Expedition, Escape, and even Edge. With a custom order at Woody Anderson Ford, you get the colors, the features, and the options you want, and you'll be notified when it's built, shipped, and ready for delivery. It's most likely the second largest investment you'll ever make, so why settle? Get your dream car or truck with a custom factory order today and get $1,000 off MSRP. See how at WoodyAndersonFord.com or at the corner of Jordan and Sparkman. Hope to see you soon.
Sitting here with Mark Kent of Southern Fidelity Mortgage Group of Huntsville. Mark, do you help pre-qualify people?
We pre-qualify people all the time, Wes. As a matter of fact, I love having them coming in here because when they come in and they pre-qualify, they can leave my office knowing exactly how much they can buy and have no worries.
Mark, tell me about your rates and pricing.
Well, Wes, this is something we're really, really proud of. Long story short is I love being able to provide the best pricing in town. Honestly, I cannot tell you the last time I lost a deal to either rate or pricing, something I'm very proud of.
So what all financing options do you have, Mark?
We do several different things. If you're purchasing a home, we can handle the purchase. If you're wanting to refinance your home, of course, rates are at the lowest they've been in the last 3 years. We do a lot of refinancing. If you're building a home, we can handle the entire process from breaking ground to the final close.
Do you sleep with your phone?
Wes, if you want to reach me, you can call me at my office phone, which is 256-562-1000. But always remember, I sleep with my cell phone at night. That number is 256-656-5936.
This is Chuck Oliver. Listen to me coming up today at noon. Now back to the Tom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
I think it's a turducken. It is a turducken, but I got to show you how to. I can't show you. I need fresh turducken. I'm going to have crazy turducken. But anyway, here's how you slice it. See, a lot of people don't know. You have to slice it down the middle. See, and then you slice it across this way. Because what it is, it's a deboned chicken stuffed in a deboned duck stuffed in a deboned turkey with dressing between the chicken and the duck and the duck and the turkey. So as you cut down that way, you go turkey, dressing, duck, dressing, chicken.
You know, one of the great things about your coming over here is I'm able to ask you all of these questions, because for a lot of years I thought a turducken was some sort of a foul crossbreed. But it's not.
Well,
it's just three different things.
Yeah. Well, it's really 5 different things. It's
He's telestrating that. I'm telling you. Trust me, okay? I know it's radio. He's telestrating that. Dude did stuff with the telestrator. There was no telestrator before him. I'm not saying they invented it for him, but he is the godfather of the telestrator. I can promise you that. All right. Joining us now, courtesy of North Alabama Mortgage, where Brian Hammaker and his crew, by the way, completed my refi. He had told me a month ago, he said, we're going to close before Christmas. And I was like, had to get him all this different stuff because I'm paid from so many different sources. And I'm not the typical, you go to a job, you get a W-2, and that's it. I got money coming up from all over the place and had to gather it all up and so on and so forth. And he said, we're going to close before Christmas. We're going to close before Christmas. And I got a call last Tuesday. He said, tomorrow we're sending somebody to your house, and you're going to sign everything, and we're closing your note. And that's exactly what they did. They did a tremendous job. I know firsthand what North Alabama Mortgage can do in Alabama, Florida, and Tennessee with conventional VA, FHA, USDA loans. They do it all. And they bring us David Moulton usually, Tuesday? But today on a Wednesday, David Moulton joins us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. David, welcome in. Happy holidays.
Right back at you, Tom.
We did not have a turducken at Christmas time, but and we got Kevin Harlan coming up in a little bit to talk a little bit too about the impact of John Madden on the broadcasting game. But Harlan and I are within 2 months of the same age. You're a couple of years younger than I am, so we all took so much from what John Madden did, and I don't think we knew when it was happening that this was totally unique until we now have, all of the color commentators, 2 of which you work with now, and it's totally different than what Madden did. Nobody has ever done what he did before him or since.
Well, I have to admit, when he, in the 80s, was becoming John Madden, the broadcaster, as somebody who wanted to do this for a living, I knew he was doing it differently than everybody else, because he was educating us, and he was really raising the level of commentary in a football game. From the trivial, the right foot, left foot mark, joking about fat guys can't keep the shirts tucked in, that sort of deal. But also the seriousness, we learned from John Madden when a certain official threw the flag, what position player the flag was on.
Yeah.
Because he would tell us, well, if this guy throws it, it's holding on the line. If this guy throws it, it involves the tight end. And he educated a whole generation. He raised the bar. And I thought the All Madden Fox documentary And yes, I do work for Fox, and the people that I work with put their soul into that documentary. And thank God they did, because I think the greatest present you could give someone is to essentially eulogize them while they're alive.
Right.
And that's what that documentary did for John Madden. If you haven't seen it, it's going to re-air tonight on FS1, and then I believe they're going to jam it in Thursday night, prime time on Fox. And it's not just a 90-minute documentary. Tom Rinaldi interviewed 39 people. And when he was done interviewing them, he had them all look into the camera and said, say 30, 60 seconds, whatever it is you want to say to John. So on Christmas Day, and Madden had not seen the documentary until Christmas, he watched it live with his family, and then he put in the special, unedited, director's cut, if you will, that Fox sent him, and he watched all those comments that everybody said, speaking directly to him. And he sat around and watched it with his family on Saturday.
I almost, and of course I knew when they announced that, and they were promoting it, Fox did a tremendous job promoting that thing for months leading up to Christmas Day, and I was so looking forward to it. I wondered if something was wrong with him, because it seemed like, okay, they got to get this in because he's up there. He's in his mid-80s, and big guys don't live into their mid-80s, and you wonder if they knew that something was wrong with him. Now, his death was totally unexpected, they said, so it wasn't like, he was sick or anything like that. The poignancy of him passing away days after that thing aired is amazing, and I wonder if at some point in time, you talk about all the footage that there is, and I'm sure hours and hours of footage, and I bet a lot of that is fascinating too. They put it together in a 90-minute show. I wonder at some point in time if there'll be a remix of that to air on an FS1, FS2, whatever, where maybe we can see more of it, because I was left wanting more. When I watched it live, I just wanted more.
Okay, and that's fair. I do think part of the problem, Tom, is cost. You have to buy from the NFL video from them by the second. Mm-hmm. You also have to buy the audio from them by the second. So if you want to run that 50-second clip of him explaining Troy Aikman unable to grow facial hair,
fantastic.
That's a fortune. That's a fortune. Fox spent...
Wait, even though Fox owns that? Even though that... Well, I guess Fox wouldn't own that, but you would think CBS, whoever he was with, the network?
No, Tom, you're right. That was on Fox. That was Madden and Summerall, I think, on Fox, drawing that. You have to buy it from the NFL. That documentary cost millions.
Yeah.
Millions. So I don't think you're going to see the unedited director's cut, if you will.
Yeah, you would think that the NFL would want to. I mean, John Madden did so much for the NFL. You would think that the NFL would want to somehow assist in putting more of that stuff out. Maybe it goes on the NFL Network, and that's their return for it. I don't know. I just wanted more. And I think the drawing on Aikman's face, trying to grow a facial hair, that one may be my favorite. I mean, I don't know. I'm thinking back. I don't know which one's the favorite, but that one may be my favorite. That was hilarious, and that's got to bring tears to Troy Aikman when he sees that.
Well, and the first time he saw it was they showed it to him while interviewing him for the documentary, and he laughed and he said, "Wow, I've never seen this before." But I thought Troy said something poignant. He said, my career and our dynasty, if you will, Madden and Summerall were the soundtrack of my career. And it meant a lot to Troy that he went into the Hall of Fame the same class as John Madden. And they were close. Troy talked with him frequently. I was the one that let Troy know last night that he had passed. He was bummed.
Wow. Yeah, I would imagine he would be, because it was, even though you know that this is going to happen to these older guys, it's still a shock to the system when it happens. For sure. David Moulton with us here.
Well, and especially since so many of the people on Fox, first off, the old guard on Fox are CBS holdovers. They came over with Madden from CBS. Like, the lead producer for all the Buck and Aikman football games is Richie Zients. He's in the documentary. John Madden was in his wedding. John Madden introduced Richie to his wife. I mean, Richie owes his adulthood to John Madden. And it was a passion project for a lot of the people at Fox. They desperately wanted to make this documentary. They knew he was getting up there in age, and apparently he was getting weaker. Now, yes, it was unexpected that he passed yesterday, but apparently they knew, hey, if we're going to do this, we need to do it. And I think when they signed Tom Rinaldi, it was kind of like, hey, we're kicking around this idea, and Rinaldi said, I'm in. Tom Rinaldi spent 8 months on that documentary.
Man, and he did a tremendous job with it, for sure. All right, let's shift gears a little bit. We'll continue that conversation at the top of the hour with Kevin Harlan, who, by the way, for me, I think he's right at the top of the list with the other great play-by-play guys right now. And one of the unique things about Harlan is that he does some off-schedule stuff. Some of his radio calls about animals on the field, fans on the field, things like that are just absolutely hilarious. And, so it'll be interesting to see what Kevin Harlan has to say about the passing of John Madden as well. But with you, let's move forward. As a certified, out-of-my-mind SEC honk, which I'm admitted to be. I crow about everything that the SEC, every non-conference game that they win. I always, go on and on about the 7-2 record in the bowl games or whatever it ends up being. How concerned should I be about 0-4 start? Going to be 0-5. I mean, North Carolina is going to beat South Carolina today. They're a 9-point favorite. How concerned should we be about the SEC and the nature of some of these beatings last night? Texas Tech destroying, Mississippi State, UCF handling Florida with relative ease. How concerned as SEC honks should we be about this?
Well, do you think then it's going to trickle down and impact Alabama and Georgia that maybe they're not as good as we think? Is that what this bowl season is showing? I mean, I will say, Tom, I thought all season long that the SEC was being propped up by the committee, that they kept jamming in teams in the back end of the top 25, and I kept thinking to myself, these are not top 25 teams. You just want to reward them because they happen to be in the SEC. I mean, I do think there's a little similarity to 2011 when LSU and Alabama had such gaudy numbers because they played a really down SEC that year if you go back and look. I mean, really down. Everybody had inexperienced quarterbacks, injuries at quarterback. There was just not – Georgia was exposed a little bit by Alabama. You put an elite quarterback and two good wide receivers out on the field, and, all of a sudden one of the greatest defenses in the history of mankind is getting gashed. And that's why there were some of us 10 years ago that were wondering, what if an Oklahoma State, what if a Boise State got a shot at an LSU or an Alabama? That are these defensive numbers kind of puffed up because the conference was a lot weaker than we all wanted to let on. Listen, I don't think Georgia's the 7.5, 8-point favorite on Michigan. I don't. I think that's a 3-point spread. I think those teams are mirror images of each other, and the one team is quarterbacked by Stetson Bennett IV. So that one concerns me. Bama's a clear favorite on Cincinnati. It's also not the greatest matchup for Cincinnati, and Cincinnati doesn't have a kicker. Right now, the injury to Mechie, Cincinnati's got 3 guys in the secondary who are going to be in the NFL. Maybe they can actually do a much better job on the back end than Georgia's secondary did, and they can slow Bama down a little bit and keep this a game.
Yeah, I think that if Alabama and Georgia advance to the national championship game, that'll quiet some of the noise. I think the SEC has a chance to rally to a 500 type of finish. I think Tennessee could be Purdue and should be Purdue. I think Ole Miss has got – that's a pick 'em. That's going to be a good game against Baylor and the Sugar. A couple of tough games, Arkansas, Penn State, Iowa and Kentucky. I think Kentucky's going to have a hard time with Iowa possibly. So those games will determine whether or not the SEC in their 13 games can fight back to even. I believe that if it's Alabama and Georgia in the national championship game, that would probably offset the middle of the league being soft. And I think that's what we're seeing, right? The depth. It feels like the middle of the league, which was this year Florida, Auburn, Mississippi State, Missouri. These people, not very good. I mean, it was not a very good middle of the league. It used to be like the middle of our league could beat the crap out of the top of your league. Not so much now.
No, and I also think that, quite frankly, that the group of 5 teams are a lot better than they used to be. They just are. And
I think Group of 5 also maybe Big 12. I mean, the ACC is beating.
Yeah.
I mean, not just Group of 5 teams, because those were Florida shouldn't have lost to UCF like that, though. I mean, that's
no, and listen, if you look back historically, the SEC really only cares about the January 1st and playoff bowl.
Right.
This year, the playoffs on New Year's Eve. So, to me, I would gauge the SEC by how do the teams that are playing on December 31st and January 1st do. They have a winning record? Okay. Nobody really cares about all the teams who have just lost, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Outside of Florida, and that's extenuating circumstances. I'll give Florida a lot of credit, Tom. I thought they were going to back out of that game. I really did. I was surprised that they put themselves at risk to lose to UCF. They were in a bad spot. They were undermanned. Half the team didn't want to play. They got an interim coach. Meanwhile, you knew it'll be the biggest game UCF played all year, and UCF's not bad.
Yeah.
I was actually impressed that Florida didn't raise their hand and say, hey, put us in the Mayo Bowl against North Carolina and have South Carolina play UCF.
Yeah, and then you got Auburn fans now saying, wait a minute, are you telling me that Gus Malzahn just went 9-4 and beat Florida in his bowl game, and we went 6-7 and lost to Houston? I just wonder, this is going to have to be a quick turnaround. And when you look at the way Auburn played against Houston and how bad TJ Finley is, can be, that kid is he's not a big time quarterback, and so you really worry about them for next year.
Yeah, Tom, I think if you look closely, the quarterback situation in the SEC is very unsettled. I mean, you've got a Heisman Trophy winner in Alabama. Who else do you have? I mean, Texas A&M had 2.
Yeah.
We go through every school. Bo Nix got hurt. Florida, obviously, they picked the wrong guy. It didn't work out. Ole Miss had a quarterback. They had a 10-win season. Alabama had a quarterback. They're number 1 in the country. I mean, not a lot. This is not a good year for quarterbacks in the SEC. It isn't. Either guys got hurt or guys who were hyped didn't produce. And if you don't have quarterbacks, you can get beat.
Yeah, well, and so next year for, I know for Auburn, they've got a hotshot freshman coming in, and there's probably going to be a lot of hope that he can go ahead and start as a freshman. We've seen freshmen start before, but it may be a year before they're right, and we'll just see how Auburn fan reacts to Brian Harsin. If they're looking at, right now it feels like they're 6-6 again next year. When you look at them.
Hey, Tom, I think a lot of SEC fans better get used to the SEC looking a lot like the NFL, where right now 15 weeks in, 8-7 is a playoff spot in both conferences.
Yeah.
I mean, Tom, you can't have this many schools be this all in on football and dominating the top 20 and 30 of the recruiting classes. I mean, you can't have 13 of your 14 teams be in the top 30 in recruiting and not eventually have them all cannibalize each other.
Right.
I mean, I really think that that's what's coming for the SEC. Maybe Alabama and or Georgia can stay a little bit ahead of everybody else. Maybe. But God forbid they get one key injury or they have a little bit of slippage. I mean, I think we're not far away from a 2-loss SEC champion. I really don't think we are. You can't have this many good programs in the same conference, this all in, and not eventually have them all start beating each other.
David Moulton with us. You off to El Paso for the revamped Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. Now Washington State and Central Michigan. That's got to have everybody thoroughly excited.
Oh, thoroughly excited. It's Groundhog Day all over again.
You get paid the same for that game? You get paid the same, right?
Yes. You get paid exactly. Doesn't matter who's in it. Okay, MAC, ACC, doesn't matter. It's the same sliding scale.
Yeah, well, that's good. Well, enjoy El Paso. I hear it's beautiful this time of year. And then you're in Dallas on Sunday, is that right?
Cardinals and Cowboys.
It's a good game. Cardinals are circling the drain, though, right now, man. I'm all the way back to where I was on Kyler Murray. I know he can beat a lot of bad teams because a guy that's multifaceted like he is, has that quick twitch. He's fun to watch, all that. I don't know if he can beat good teams. I just don't know if you can win with that kid. Win it all type of thing with that kid. That's going to be a good game that you got.
Yeah, and there's no doubt that Arizona has to stop the bleeding. But, Kyler Murray presents problems, and the Cowboys can get after a quarterback, but can they get him to the ground? And I will say, I think Arizona's, with no DeAndre Hopkins, they're very human.
Troy is, I know he's far enough removed as a player that he's probably, it's not hard for him to be objective, but he's still got a huge Cowboy fan. Do you see him having to kind of almost bend over backwards and make sure that he dials it back a little bit when he's on a Cowboys game, just to make sure that his love of the Cowboys doesn't come out?
No, he's very good at calling it straight. If anything, the problem for Troy is he's such a big deal in Dallas.
Yeah.
If he calls it straight, people in Dallas get mad at him.
We know that's why Herbie had to move to Nashville from Columbus, because he would call it straight on the Buckeyes, and he had so many haters, and his kids were getting attacked and everything else, and his wife and everything. That's why he moved to Nashville, because he could not live in Columbus and call it straight, on Ohio State. And Drew Brees, God love him, I think he's going to be a really good analyst. But I saw him do a Notre Dame-Purdue game. Of course, the Purdue guy. And it sounded like I was watching, listening to the Purdue radio network. And then he did a Saints game on Thursday Night Football. And it's the same thing. It's going to take him a minute to get that Boilermaker Saint thing out of his system.
Yeah, the funny thing is, if anything, Troy probably gets more grief, not for being pro-Cowboy, but from Cowboy fans wondering, dude, how come you're not giving us more love?
Right. Why aren't you saying we? I get it.
Exactly.
That means you're doing a good job when both sides are yelling at you. All right. I appreciate you as always. Have a wonderful week in El Paso and in Dallas, and and a happy New Year. And we'll look forward to talking next week about the national championship matchup.
All right. Whether or not it's an all SEC affair or not, I can tell you my audience, which is very SEC heavy, there's a little bit of SEC fatigue even amongst the SEC fans.
No. Florida fans. Let's qualify. Your audience is in Florida. The last thing they want to see is Alabama and Georgia, the two states that they border. They don't want any part of Alabama and Georgia. Those are Florida fans, not SEC fans.
Well, it's true. They're rooting for Michigan. That is true. They wouldn't mind Alabama, Michigan, but they don't want to see Georgia.
Yeah, they don't want to see Georgia. You think they hate Georgia even more than they hate Alabama?
Yeah.
Alabama's not a regular.
Right. They have fatigue from Alabama. They have hatred to Georgia. Hey, I don't know if you mentioned it on the show today. If you did, I apologize. Today is 39 years to the day that the Bear coached his last game.
Yeah, we had not mentioned that yet. No, that's good. Good job by you, Liberty Bowl in Memphis, and that's a good job by you getting in there. Yeah, 39 years ago today, the Bear, and then it was like 2 weeks later that he died. Right? It was January.
4 weeks.
4 weeks.
January 26th. I believe it was 28 days later.
Yeah,
went out a winner. It was a big game for Illinois. They hadn't been in a bowl in nearly 20 years since like the Butkus days. But Alabama won 21-15.
And it's amazing just to think in our head that Nick Saban is older than Bear Bryant was when he died. Because Bear was between the drinking and the whiskey, he lived a hard life. And fighting bears, he lived a hard life. But to think of Nick Saban as a year older than Bear Bryant is mind-boggling. Because Saban looks like he's 60, not 70. All right, David, appreciate you. Happy holidays to you and the family.
Happy New Year, everybody.
David Moulton. It's a great job by him. All right, let's get a break. We'll come back, wrap up hour number 1, tell you when Beat the Big Dog's coming in hour number 2. It's the Tom Abraham Show, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to the Tom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Valley
Equipment Rental. Pretty self-explanatory name, no? Tom Abraham here. And look, Valley Equipment Rental is all over the Tennessee Valley, and they rent equipment, all kinds of equipment, and not just to the contractors out there, but to you, the general public as well. Need a skid steer or an excavator? Well, they've got over 40 units to make sure they've got one for you. From huge boom lifts to miscellaneous hand tools, it's at Valley Equipment Rental on the South Parkway. And soon, they'll have a second location to handle even more equipment. More on that to come.
Everybody knows the fun begins when you get to the end zone, where you can enjoy half-price apps every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, half-price burgers every Tuesday, plus late-night pizza specials and a spectacular menu that includes jumbo wings, half-pound burgers, Tex-Mex, and an incredible selection of craft beer, and plenty of big-screen TVs. It's all happening at the end zone, 1851 University Drive, 2030 Cecil Ashburn at Jones Valley Station, and coming in early 2022, Mid-City End Zone at 1115 McMurtry next to the Target Shopping Center.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
TOC Sports has been there for you. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what does that mean? It means for more than 20 years, Alabama's largest orthopedic group has been there providing coverage and care to more schools and student athletes in the Tennessee Valley than any other group. It means whether you are the star football player, the all-region volleyball ace, or someone who hurt their knee in a weekend pickup basketball game, TOC Sports physicians are proud to have the opportunity to care for all your orthopedic needs. It means for parents, coaches, athletes, desk jockeys, or even weekend warriors, TOC Sports physicians continue to meet and exceed the orthopedic and sports medicine needs of our community. But most importantly, during these challenging times, we're here for you now, and will continue to be here. So as long as there are players on the field, games to be played, and contests to be won, the orthopedic specialists from TOC Sports will be ready to help. We don't know what the future holds, but you can count on the TOC Sports team to stay committed to you, so you can stay in the game. Call 256-539-2728 today and ask to see a TOC Sports physician. Check them out online, also Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Jesus tells us to go the second mile. Well, sometimes it's hard enough to go the first mile. But when the Lord is number one in our lives, we not only go the first mile, but we embrace the second mile. We can talk all we want about Jesus and how important he is to us, but we show it in the second mile. In the second mile, the world has changed. In the second mile, the difference is made. In the second mile, the lost world sees Christ in us. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church. We're smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison. And check us out at cpcfamily.org.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4-RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. For this Wednesday, expect scattered showers and thunderstorms. A few of these thunderstorms could be on the stronger side. High temperatures
Our Kevin Harlan will join us from Westwood One and CBS. The NFL on CBS, the NFL on Westwood One. One of my favorite play-by-play guys. We'll talk more about John Madden and his career and what he brought to the broadcasting business and what he brought to broadcasters of my generation. Kevin and I are both the same age. We'll do that next, right here on the Tom Abraham Show, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Take your taste buds back in time with a trip to the all-new Bubby's Diner, offering a variety of mouth-watering food from delicious starters to 50s-style diner food and meat-and-three meals featuring owner and Huntsville native Chris Bubby Belcher's family's homemade recipes. Open Monday through Saturday for breakfast, lunch, and dinner at 8412 Whitesburg Drive in the former Gibson's Barbecue. Drive-in, drive-through, carry-out, or curbside pickup with delivery coming soon through Grub South. Bubby's Diner, home of the Donut Burger. Take your taste buds back in time with a trip to the all-new Bubby's Diner, offering a variety of mouth-watering food from delicious starters to 50s-style diner food and meat-and-three meals featuring owner and Huntsville native Chris Bubby Belcher's family's homemade recipes. Open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner at 8412 Whitesburg Drive in the former Gibson's Barbecue. And you can enjoy $50 worth of delicious Bubby's Diner food for half price with this week's Zone Deal. On sale now online at 977ESPN.com.
For over 20 years, Audio Insight has been designing and installing systems that integrate today's technology into homes and businesses all over the Tennessee Valley. At Audio Insight, they don't provide one-size-fits-all system solutions. Instead, they design your system from the ground up based on your valuable input. By working closely with you, Audio Insights can ensure that your system will meet your performance, budget, and aesthetic needs. Visit the showroom at 1229 Putman Drive off Jordan Lane and experience some of their fine products firsthand. Visit audio-insight.com to learn more.
Susan, it's so great to finally be able to get together again.
Oh, it sure is. And I really appreciate you picking up the bill.
I'm happy to. I've got the extra cash. Since we've all been driving so much more again, I've been using Get Upside, the free gas app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Get Upside app?
Yes, up to 25 cents a gallon. Cash back every time I buy gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
Some months I make $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Get Upside app now.
Download the free Get Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play to save up to 25 cents a gallon when you buy gas. Use promo code BOOST for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 50 cents a gallon on your next fill-up. You can cash out anytime to PayPal or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code BOOST for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BOOST.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Legend, icon, Renaissance man, Hall of Famer. Just some of the words being used to describe John Madden, who died yesterday morning at the age of 85. He was a Hall of Fame coach who won Super Bowl 11 with the Raiders, was the preeminent TV NFL analyst for 30 years. He called 11 Super Bowls. In a statement, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell said John Madden was football. The NFL and Players Association agreed to reduce the isolation period for players who test positive for COVID-19 to 5 days. The agreement includes both vaccinated and unvaccinated players. A player's return is contingent upon him being asymptomatic after the 5-day period. Vaccinated players may continue to test out of isolation sooner than 5 days as soon as they test negative. Unvaccinated players not eligible to test out sooner than that 5-day period.
It's Alabama, Cincinnati, Georgia, and Michigan in the Final Four.
No. Yes.
Listen to all the coverage and the games right here.
All right, place your bets. Place your bets.
On 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You need to be more like a dog.
Like what you guys are doing. You've got your fingertip on the pulse of your listeners. You guys know what they're talking about.
Be a dog.
God bless the show. You are the Messiah.
We need more dogs.
This is the best show on radio.
The big dog, Tom Abraham, is here with you.
Hey, I see you. Hey, I see you, dog.
So settle in and get your bark on.
That's my dog.
Now live. Here he is, the big dog.
Let's go, baby.
Tom Abraham.
How you doing? 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 How you doing?
Look, I don't speak Spanish.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
Do you know who I am?
I mean, that guy sounds like El McPherson farting into Miles Davis' trumpet.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond? Get off my lawn.
I have to drag my Yankee ass out of here.
Notice Pat Aikman's trying to grow a beard, and he just can't do it. I mean, the blonde-haired guys, a lot of them have trouble, but I can't even. I'm looking as close as I can, and I can't see any beard. But that's a 4-day beard, isn't it?
It's a passive attempt.
It's very, very passive.
There it is.
Now here it is, but see, I mean, he got a little in here. And a little up there, here, but he doesn't have anything here at all. Watch, when you take it off, he doesn't have anything going up in there.
You got to give him time. He just had his 29th birthday.
John, that may be my favorite of all. And again, I can only tell you, younger folks, there was no telestrator before that guy. All right? And he did things with the telestrator nobody has done since, and maybe will ever do. And it was a different kind of telestrator. We used to draw with the back of a pen on that telestrator. That's how that original telestrator was. It was a screen over the screen, and you used the back of a pen, and then you touched the right lower corner to make it all go away. Kevin Harlan remembers, and he joins us now, the great Kevin Harlan, and he joins us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Kevin, welcome to the show. How are you?
Good morning. Happy holidays. Great to be on with you. I'm looking forward to getting to Nashville this weekend for the Miami.
That's a good one you got. You got a good one, and we'll get to that in a moment. Yeah, no, that's it. That's an important game. Miami's been making hay with against a lot of bad quarterbacks. I think they'll see a little bit better quarterback, this week in that game. But I wanted to get your thoughts, because you are a guy who goes off script, and we don't see that a lot with play-by-play guys. You've had some of the all-time great calls, calling fans on the field, animals on the field, and the game itself as well, with some tremendous calls there. But you and I are 2 months apart in age. We're virtually the same age. Tell me a little bit about what John Madden meant for you as a broadcaster, as you were coming in 82, 83 as a young broadcaster, and Madden was within the first couple of years of his career, and then having that run concurrent with with John Madden's 30-year career.
When Madden came into the league after coaching the Oakland Raiders, he was good, but he really wasn't what he was going to become. I mean, he actually was kind of floundering around a little bit. And then one person at CBS said, let's put him with Pat Summerall. And when they put him with Summerall, who is the ultimate setup guy, it changed the perception of John, made them the number one broadcast team in the NFL, and the rest is basically history. Then he finished off with Al Michaels. So Madden worked with two of the greatest play-by-play people this business has ever known, in Summerall and in John and in Al Michaels, and that really was the perfect pairing, because both play-by-play guys gave John so much room. They listened intently so they could play off of what he said, and then, like the clip you just had, like, Summerall saying, and he's just turned 29 or whatever, and then John would have played off of that and said, yeah, but before you're 30, you got to do this. Like he would he would have gone on and on and on. And the other thing about Madden was that because his love of the game was so deep and his passion for the sport and the players, the coaches, was so important to him that he could say things so naturally and, as you say, off script, that the comfort level he had in what he was saying that he knew personally was true and was a reflection of kind of the camaraderie that was in the football offices and in the locker room and on the field could be conveyed to the viewer and brought a completely different dimension to the broadcast. And you being in the business as long as you've been, you know that there is a fun aspect that sometimes gets lost because it's always serious and game plans and the march and the war and the gridiron and all this stuff that you forget sometimes. It's a game. And for Madden, it was both the love, the game, the players, and then the broadcast partner that set him up so beautifully every broadcast.
And Kevin Harlan with us here talking about John Madden's career. The other part of it I thought was he made you feel like he was sitting on the couch next to you watching the game. He could, if he wanted to, and this was something I came out of coaching in 97 and into TV and radio, but he could have X and O'd you to death. You know, he could have tried to show off his big brain and done all of that and gotten all very, very technical and so on, like some guys tend to do at times. But Madden didn't do that. When he would say something so simple as, 1 knee equals 2 feet. He had this simple way of putting things like he was sitting on the couch next to you having a beer watching a game. And for me, that impacted my career because when I got around to broadcasting, that's kind of how I wanted to do it. I wanted to be that kind of guy, not a guy that was trying to big-time the listener.
Yeah, that's a great point and example, and he just felt like maybe he was talking to his 85-year-old grandmother and trying to explain why that play worked or why that play didn't. And I think then he had the kind of childlike fascination with all the different things going on in a game and how at the end of the day it was just a game played by, young kids in their 20s, and he could find something, funny about that. I would tell you that, and with your background, you'd get this, but I find most coaches have a very good sense of humor, and it rarely is revealed. Whether I'm talking, whether it's Mike Vrabel talking to us off the record to our CBS crew, or whether it was Jeff Fisher before him, when Fish would talk to us, he would, like these guys, Mike McCarthy, the coach of the Dallas Cowboys, like these are funny guys. Like they'll say stuff that to them just seems like an everyday thing they'd say walking down the hall in their coaching offices in the complex, but really is hilarious, a dry sense of humor. Mike Holmgren was the same way when he coached Green Bay and Seattle.